What's up, guys? It's about time for a tractor video. Haven't posted one in a while, and I've been pretty rough on this thing lately. See behind me, it's not pretty and clean anymore. But recently, I busted my bush hog. Now this is the BH217, the 7-foot, pretty tough bush hog. I think I done a video on this little bar upgrade I put on it. This helps me push over some stuff that I probably shouldn't be trying to cut with this thing. And I was trying to cut some pretty good sized saplings. They're not really saplings, they're probably 5 or 6 inches thick, and we've got a little problem here. So the stump jumper is completely off the bush hog. Sheared that sucker right off, right at the hub. So being a welder, I think this will be a pretty easy fix. The only problem is I can't get the hub off of these shaft. I see a lot of people taking the torch to it and heating it up. The only thing about that is that shaft is going into a gearbox and has seals. If you're torching that shaft where it's getting so hot you can just hear the gear oil bubbling, it's going to melt the seal out of it and it's going to start pouring fluid out of it eventually. So I don't want to do that. So I'm going to get this thing stood up against a tree where I don't have to crawl up under it, get the wheel puller and try to pull this thing off the correct way if the jaws will grab it. So let's get it unhooked, get it stood up against a tree where we can actually look at it. Well, unfortunately, after a little evaluation, my wheel puller that I brought home doesn't have long enough jaws to grab this thing even right here. See, it's still got this ring on here, so I was hoping I could grab this ring and pull it off, but unfortunately the wheel puller I've got is just a GM wheel puller made for harmonic balancers, and it's not got long enough jaws to reach that. So I've soaked it in penetrating oil and I'm letting it sit. I've got a crowbar and a lot bigger hammer now, so I'm going to see if I can get it off with that. That's not going to work. Waste of time. So I finally gave up and went to a neighbor's house and borrowed an actual wheel puller. A 2-jaw is all that he had. I put it on here, put the Milwaukee impact gun to it, and the puller just exploded. You know, pieces went everywhere. So I went to town and rented this big one. I'll probably end up buying it just because replace the one I broke from my neighbor, but we'll see if this one is strong enough to pull it off. I'm probably going to go get the torch and put some heat to it because I really want to get this thing off tonight and be done with it. So we'll see how it goes. trying to put a little heat in it. Even though I was trying not to do this, this looks like the only way. Woo! That's all it took, boys. Crazy what just a little bit of temperature change between them two metals will do for making it turn loose. I really didn't have the oxygen cranked up hardly at all on that torch or the acetylene. I just barely had it on just enough to put some light heat into it. I didn't want to really turn it cherry red. I'm afraid I'll burn the seals out and make it start leaking or something. But it didn't take much heat. Put a little pressure on the puller and it popped right off. So I wish I'd have done that earlier, but lesson learned. I see a lot of guys on YouTube throwing the big huge propane torches on it and melting half the bottom of the bush hog. Looks like the gear oil was just boiling out of it and stuff, but you can see it only took a couple seconds of heat and it was off. So now it's time to get this thing welded up and get it back on here. So we got this piece cleaned up and it pretty well fits back in there like it did. We're just cleaning up where this piece will go in there and it'll be a nice weld joint. Kind of jagged now. A lot of noise, but I'm just trying to get all this so y'all can see how we put it back together. It's a rough looking piece. I did a number on the sledgehammer, or with the sledgehammer on it. Come on. So we had a little problem with the welder. The rollers were slipping and we didn't know. Started messing with the voltage and the wire feed and stuff like that, and couldn't keep it from burning back. Finally had Joey watch it while I tried to weld, and we noticed that the rollers were slipping. So we got that resolved, but not before we made a pretty good mess on this one side of the hub. But it's a bush hog, so who cares, right? But I made 2 passes around it just to get it built up really good. See, we also bridged across this area right here, and I put it on there pretty thick. Tried to weave and get as much engagement as I could. So I think it'll hold. I'm gonna get some paint, just throw on there so it don't rust, and then we'll get this thing in the trunk of the car and put it back on the bush hog here in a minute. So as you can see, we got the stump jumper back on with the blades, even got the blades sharpened a little bit. Somebody decided to borrow the box of pins, so I'm gonna have to wait till they bring those back before I can let the bush hog down, because we gotta have a pin in this nut so it don't work itself loose. But other than that, job done. We'll see how long it holds up. Like I said, it really wasn't that bad to fix, but you gotta have heat. Don't waste your time trying to get this thing off without heat. This bush hog was just bought about a year ago. No rust, none of that stuff to deal with. You'll still never get it off without heat. So take it from me. So subscribe for more tractor videos and race car stuff. Mostly race car stuff, but a little bit of tractor stuff too.